G'day chaps, 'tis I, Clownpuncher139. It's no surprise I had problems with every single GameSins video of Arkham City. None of the videos did this nearly perfect game the justice it deserves because they only looked at the surface level explanations of basically everything. However, there are a few things they got right, and quite a few things they ended up missing. So, since it's only right to criticize something I love, here's everything actually wrong with Batman Arkham City. No bad jokes, no failure at analyzing key plot points, no stupid complaints that ultimately mean nothing to the overall plot, and certainly no playing dumb to act like things don't make sense. Let's begin. Starting a Batman game as Catwoman. This has always been one of my biggest pet peeves with this game. I do appreciate that we get the Cain and Abel symbolism in this scene, but starting Batman Arkham City as Catwoman never made any sense. We have no backstory as to where we are, the section is over in less than a minute, and we get a much better opening right after it's over. And this is just a personal complaint, but the Catwoman sections in general feel really forced in. For instance, you make it through the steel mill and finally get to Joker, but he knocks you out, and now you're really invested. But as soon as that happens, you cut to Catwoman wanting to break into Strange's vault? Why would you undercut such an awesome build-up with a boring side quest? And it just keeps happening. Batman meets Joker again and beats him up, but the ceiling collapses, trapping him under rubble. Talia is able to temporarily save him, but Joker knocks him out and leaves him to die. Cut to Catwoman still hung up by Ivy, who's just bitching about a plant she forgot to water. And we later find out that the reason Batman is trapped is because Protocol 10 has started. The big reveal we've all been waiting for, and we're stuck playing as Catwoman trying to get a bit of loot from Strange's vault. Yes, we get the fake out ending, which is amazing, but did we have to get it after the big endgame event has started? And, oh yeah, it happens once again for the fourth Catwoman section. After Joker dies, Batman carries him out of the city and we fade to black. Guess what? We cut to Catwoman, who wants to get her things and leave the city. Undercutting this incredibly emotional moment with Catwoman just wanting to leave is absolutely idiotic. And this section is required to be beaten if you want to play the rest of the side missions. The Catwoman missions themselves are pretty fun, but they come at literally the worst possible times in the story. They could have moved them literally anywhere else, or even just given you the option to swap to Catwoman's perspective whenever and just start the missions then, like how it worked in Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story remakes. Or heck, if you were given the option to turn them off but still have them installed, I really wouldn't be complaining this much. But because I have to have them uninstalled to play without them, yeah, it's a sin. I can understand Bruce taking some gun butts and even the TV to the face. That's not that brutal. Plus, Tiger has been specifically instructed not to kill him by Strange because he wants him alive. What I won't accept is a full force swing of a lead pipe to the back of the head. That is a concussion and a half if I've ever seen one. If he was wearing the cowl, that'd be one thing, but his head is completely exposed and taking the full force of that pipe. If it didn't kill him, he'd definitely be concussed for the rest of the game. Penguin's boot is just the nail in the coffin.
Nighty night.
Now this may be completely wrong, so feel free to correct me in the comments. These tubes with the blood going into Bruce's system clearly have air pockets. If I know anything about the body, it's that air going in is a huge no-go. Now, I've never seen a blood transfusion in real life, but I'm pretty sure having air pockets between the blood going into your body would lead to death faster than any poison or bad transfusion. Again, could be wrong, so feel free to correct me if so. How the heck did Penguin and his goons overwhelm Freeze and get him to the museum? Well, I'll tell you. Hugo Strange. One of the most overlooked parts of Arkham City are the interview tapes between Strange and the various supercriminals. Penguin and Strange have an interesting working relationship before the events of Arkham City. In exchange for information about his psyche and general body disposal, Strange gives Penguin weapons. After most of their exchanges are complete, Penguin asks if Joker is dying, to which Strange replies yes, and Mr. Freeze is making the cure. Neither party supposedly wants that, so Strange hands Freeze over to Penguin, who was waiting in the room next door. He was able to get Freeze in by threatening his wife, who was seized by Tiger forces and delivered to the Joker's crew. His weapons and suit were seized by either Tiger or Penguin, and he was dragged to the museum, which was not that far away from the entrance to Arkham City. Most of the major plot points in Arkham City can be explained away by these interview tapes. This is just the biggest one I wanted to bring up because I almost called it a sim when I was first writing this script. I have conflicting feelings about Robin in this game. In the base game, he has a total of like 5 lines. He shows up to give Batman the line launcher, and then he's just gone. Poof. The only thing he gets is a single line of dialogue when he explains the hospital situation after the Rage fight. Then, until Harley Quinn's Revenge, that's all we get. They spent a ton of time making this awesome new design for Robin just to have him show up for a single cutscene where he just gives Batman a new gadget they could have just dropped with the Batwing. I love his story in Harley Quinn's Revenge, but without that, Robin is just there. At the very least, they could have given him a few more lines of dialogue about the hospital situation. That would have at least made it feel like he was actively doing something behind the scenes like in Arkham Knight. As much as I love the demon trials, they make absolutely no sense. Raish's test to determine if Batman is a worthy successor is to just have him glide from point A to point B? And if this is the same test that all other would-be successors go through, how are they expected to pass? If this is a test to determine the head of the League of Assassins, shouldn't it be, I don't know, a combat test? A stealth mission? Literally anything that could feasibly be done by someone who isn't a superhero with gliding or flying capabilities? And if the trial is somehow personalized to each participant, that still doesn't explain why Batman is gliding. Maybe Raish knows that Batman is a capable warrior and stealth expert, but what does gliding even have to do with being an assassin? Raish knows basically everything about Batman's skills, so giving him a personalized test is pretty worthless. A standardized test for all participants is all that makes sense, and if the trials are that gliding challenge, how the hell would Raish himself pass his own test? Talia goes about saving Batman in the worst possible way. At this point in time, she has the cure. Harley Quinn took it from Freeze but never got it to Joker because Talia intercepted and tied her up in the loading bay. This means she has it when confronting Joker in the funhouse. We know she's willing to kill Joker because of what happens in the movie theater, so why not do it now, cure Batman, and we all go home? Instead, she risks making Joker immortal, Batman never getting cured, and her probably dying in the process. She wouldn't have known that Catwoman would come along and free Batman, who would in turn follow the tracker and save her. It's possible she knew about Protocol 10 and knew Batman needed to stop it, but he could still stop it if she killed Joker right then. And of course, she doesn't know Joker is Clayface, so she can't just be leading him away knowing she can't kill him. It's possible this was all part of Raish's plan and this was another test for Batman, but remember that Raish and Talia had a falling out after his fight earlier. You know, when he threatened to kill her if Batman didn't kill him? It is a complete bust of a plot point that makes absolutely no sense. Before the Lazarus Pit explodes, Batman has the cure in his left hand. After he's knocked unconscious and comes to, the cure is in his right. This has yet to be explained and still ticks me off to this day. We were using this to theorize that Joker was alive in Arkham Knight for years, and after all that, it was probably just a mistake. What's weirder is that Batman actively looks at the cure like it was supposed to be significant, but we still have no explanation. As much as it pains me to say this, Joker secretly being Clayface doesn't really have a point. Let's be clear, I love the reveal, and all the subtle hints thrown throughout the main story are great. But did Joker being Clayface actually do anything? Well, the fake Joker gag kinda made sense to ensure Batman will be on board with getting the cure. It's a good double fake out that also helps Batman put the pieces together later. But when healthy Joker is revealed in the steel mill, shouldn't that have completely thrown Batman off? He pretty much blatantly admits that he got the cure when he says,
Can I get me some of that crazy cure?
True, when Joker called Batman after he saved Vicky Vale, he said he might save some for him, but we all know that wouldn't be the case. So seeing a healthy Joker would indicate he got the cure and likely wouldn't share any with him. Joker also says nothing throughout the rest of the mill to indicate to Batman that he has any cure to share. There are hints throughout the game that Clayface is really just here to be a facade for the rest of the prison, and I could kinda understand if that was the case. During the Lost speech, where we first see healthy Joker, he ends it by rallying the gang for a prison break.
Now arm yourselves, boys. We've got a prison break to plan.
Furthermore, when you're first infiltrating the steel mill, Harley sees Clayface and shouts with glee, thinking Joker was magically cured. So it's possible that Joker hired Clayface to, as he says in the movie theater, keep up appearances. We know he has a vicious rivalry with Penguin, and a lot of his troops are wary of him being sick. So hiring Clayface to give the troops a morale boost and Penguin a morale drop would actually kinda make sense. While you infiltrate the steel mill for the second time, thugs are a lot more confident with a healthy Joker behind them. And during some of Penguin's interview tapes, we hear him ask if Joker is actually dying, and hearing yes makes him more confident. So I guess it makes sense from that angle, but the game really doesn't give the player much to interpret that. This is a strange thing to talk about, and I've more or less come up with an explanation that makes sense, but I've gotten pretty convoluted in its execution. I'll let you all decide if this is something wrong with the game, as I'm pretty conflicted, honestly. And as far as I can tell, that is everything actually wrong with Arkham City. Not too much, eh? Well, it's certainly more than I was expecting. If you have something you think is wrong with Arkham City that I didn't mention, leave it in a comment below and I'll see if I can refute it. And until next time, I'll see you later, chaps.